Hello, this is Danielle, and this is actually a video showing to you how REsimpli works and what are the features and functionalities that REsimpli have. So when you log in into the account, this is the first page you'll ever see. It's the main dashboard. It's called homepage, and the homepage is unique to every user in the account. So it means that if you are working with team members, with a team, this is a very good way for you to look into what your team members have for the day, even yourself. And your goal is that you make sure that you work on every lead, every task, every new activity coming from lead. If you're tagged in a comment by someone else in your team, making sure all of it are checked and work with. So on this particular page, you would actually see task 2, open messages, internal unbox, and there's portion here for leads. So it's also like a notification system that you would be able to know what you will have for the day, and that at the end of the day, your goal is to zero out the numbers you see here. Okay. Other data that you see here, these are all provided by the system as you go along using it. And this abandoned leads portion, this is a very good way for you to look into leads that you don't have any drip campaign activated with, and then there's no pending task assigned, and no drip and no pending task at the same time. So you would know exactly if there could be like a miss in your end not to work on specific leads. Now, in REsimpli, the leads are tracked with phone numbers. So phone numbers, it's actually called by the system as campaign phone numbers or different campaigns. Um, there is always an option to port over numbers if you're bringing phone numbers with you from like a previous CRM, or you have already existing marketing phone numbers you wanted it to be in REsimpli, then porting can always be an option. If you don't want to port over existing or old phone numbers that you own for marketing or for your follow-ups, you can definitely just get new phone numbers here. You just click on buy numbers, and then you would be able to get your desired phone numbers, of course, with specific area code that you want to have. Now, with the phone numbers, you would be asked to accordingly assign it to specific lead sources and campaigns. It's actually system's way of tracking leads, so you know exactly where the leads are coming from. You know which campaign you're actually getting very good responses from leads, which campaign should have more aggressive follow-ups. So it's actually updating your KPIs, for your lead flow, and with the phone numbers also, you would know exactly if which marketing channel you're doing um, is actually getting you very good number of leads. Now in here you would see that there is this column for spam checks. So it's systems functionality that um, it would have all the numbers across to be checked with spam flag, and if it has spam flag, then it will be submitted um, by the backend team of REsimpli for remediation. So it's very good. You don't need to be bothered in your end because it's all done by the backend team. Now, in REsimpli, there is 100% recording for both inbound and outbound calls. You would have the choice to enable or disable it. Inbound call forwarding, you can set it up through call flow. So it will enable you to set up business hours and non-business hours. Now this is how it looks like when setting up a call flow. So you assign a flow name. This is where you will enable your inbound call forwarding you know, set up to be recorded in the system. In the call flow as well, you can, of course, schedule the hours to days that you will consider as business hours. And then, of course, there would always be this page for non business hours. For call flow, there is an IVR system that you could set up. Um, you can also select the forward type that you would want. So single forward, we have the system has two options, for you to select. In-app answering, which enables, of course, you answering the call straight from the system, whether you're in your computer or in the app. So REsimpli has app available for both iOS and Android devices, so it makes it more convenient, especially if you're on the go. Now, when setting up the call flow, if you're choosing number forward, so this is an option wherein you can set up your cell phone number or business phone number as a forwarding number when someone calls in. You don't need to worry, like if your cell phone number will display on the lead's end. That's not going to happen because this setup is more of just internal. So it's just used merely for forwarding. Um, Here you could also select other forward types, like if you wanted to ring multiple phone numbers all at once. If you want the numbers to ring one at a time, you can do that through round robin. You could also set up your own voicemail within REsimpli. So if you're doing number forward, you have your cell phone number set up in the call flow as forwarding. Someone's going to call, you're not going to be able to pick up. Then instead of getting it to the personal voicemail set up on the cell phone number, then um, with voicemail activated here in call flow, then the call gets routed to REsimpli or your REsimpli voicemail. Here at the bottom, you would see automations for text message and ringless voicemail if it's a missed call. So if you want to send out a text for any missed calls you have, you can, of course, enable that here in call flow. And if you don't want SMS, then other option is ringless voicemail. Now, repeat caller, this is very good, especially if for repeat callers you would want it to get routed to a different number or specific person in your team other than what you have set up in your regular call flow. So example, like in your single forward, all initial calls are routed to a lead manager, whoever is your lead manager in the team. But if it's going to be repeat caller, you would want the call to get routed to an acquisition manager. So that could be set up here with the repeat caller option. Now, once that leads are already created within the system, it goes into the active leads page. So this is active leads page. Different columns, it represents different statuses of a lead. So your goal is, of course, moving the lead from left to right. And as you can see, when you will actually drag a lead tile, you can already change the status of it from here on the main leads page. And if you access a lead, all right, let's go to a sample lead. Let's go ahead and check this lead here. Now, if you will check on a lead, this is how it's going to look like. You see this property address here above. You would see this badge here, qualified. If you click on this, it changes to not qualified. And you can use this as a lead filter. It also updates KPI. 4 icons here will come handy. It is actually going to save you time, like opening a different page or tab for you to access the property address on Google, on Zillow, Google Map View, and Google Street View. All right. So this is how it's going to look like. Okay. So if you're very particular checking the property in Zillow, you just have to click on the Zillow icon there, and then it will actually open the page, Zillow page for that property address or for the property address. Now, as you are actually moving from top to bottom, here you can change the status of a lead. You could also select its exit status, and then this is where you will see the campaign phone number attached to the lead or where the lead is coming from. So, on this particular lead here, it is from my absentee campaign, and its default number is this one ending in 0489. So if I want to text or call this lead or put it in a drip campaign, this is going to be the default number. Unless, of course, I would change the outbound caller ID, which is an available option in the dialer. Now, if you're going down, you would see here this lead detail page, general info. So this is the main leads info, phone number, email address, and then you will have the icons here. This is for calling. All right, this is the leads dialer. Very convenient to use because when you are already here and this dialer pop up, you wouldn't be needing to jump from one page to another. You could just easily call from here, look into lead information from here, view an activity log. You can leave notes here. You can edit the lead from here, send text from here, activate drip, add appointment, add task. So instead of you like checking from one page to another or getting into one page to another. So this is going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to make you more productive, especially if your task for the day is really more than that of follow-up calls. Now, along with the dialer, if I'll call this lead now, right? When the call is disconnected, you would actually see the second page of the dialer, which is more of a call disposition. There's also a part in here where you could close your pending task and you can send out a text. Now here, lead connected, lead not connected, this is actually updating what you see in the main dashboard in the home page for the percentage. So I will choose this. I'll exit dialing. Gets me to the main page of the dialer. If I click next, then I will actually be on the next lead on my list. All right. Now, like I've said, very convenient to use because you can do a lot of things from here, from the dialer alone, without having to go back and forth from one page to another. Now, analytics info, property info, list stacking info, these are default information for all the leads that you will have in the system. Lead form questions, we always have, like the users, the option to customize it, have our own questions set in here for the lead form. This right portion, you see all the activities of the lead. We call it like more of, you'll see the notes, text thread, the call history. So this is the activity log, and there's available filters if you are looking for something very specific. So it has like different tabs here for communication and notes, communication notes, and then all of the updates that is happening or has happened already with the lead. Actions portion, this is where you will see the lead management functionalities, calling, texting, sending email, sending ringless voicemail, and all the other lead management functionalities. So it's all in one place. There wouldn't be much of a confusion when you're actually using the system because you can already find all of these functionalities in one place. Now, the other tab that you will see when you access a lead, next one is the Dispo tab. So Dispo tab, this is where you're going to add a buyer. If there would be a buyer that's going to work with you on this lead, you can add the information in here, interested buyer too. And REsimpli has buyers database. So in the buyers database, you could already upload your cash buyers list or agents list in there. So whenever you add a buyer here in a specific lead, there is going to be an auto-populated information if that particular buyer is already being uploaded in the buyers database. So it will fill out all the necessary fields coming off, of course, from the buyers database. Now, tasks and appointments, you can set up appointment within the system. There is a REsimpli calendar for appointments, and you would have option to integrate it with your Google account, for the Google Calendar. It's a two-way integration, and um, what's the best thing about it is that you could also set up your availability within the system. So if you are talking to the lead, but the appointment is to be set with an acquisition manager, then you can definitely set the appointment and select the calendar for your acquisition manager. Right. The calendar functionality, it's actually located in here. If you click on this, gets you to the calendar. It's also where you can integrate it with your Google account, your Google Calendar, and then set up your availability. Now for tasks, there's like three different tasks that you can set up in the system. Property or lead specific tasks, the one that we're looking at. And then there's also this what we call general business task. So for um, this is actually more of, you can assign it to a specific team member or yourself, but not really property specific. So that's just the difference of it. Now the third task that I mentioned, it's more of a status automation. It's called global task. So these are tasks that you set up to be auto created by the system when a lead is switched over from one status to another. Now, for the Files tab, there is a functionality in REsimpli wherein you could upload your files for a lead, photo, video, documents, anything at all, and you can share it, from for those to those that are not part of your REsimpli account. If they need to look into the file, or they need to add files into it, or they need to delete in their end, there's a sharing option you could enable, and you will just have to share the link for the file of that specific lead. Depending on the permission you're giving to them, they should be able to access the file you're sharing. There is an e-sign functionality within REsimpli. It's kind of similar with DocuSign. The best thing about e-sign is that, of course, it's already part of the CRM. So if you're processing any document, you would actually see this tab in here updated. So you can just upload the templates that you have for your documents here at the e-sign page, and then process the document accordingly through the system. The related tab, it will show those properties that the seller also owns. So it's multiple properties for a seller, then that property addresses will show up in the related tab. Team tab, this is of course where we can see those team members who's assigned to this lead. The team members assigned to a lead, of course, it is dependent on how the campaign is set up. So like for this absentee campaign, these are actually the roles that are enabled for this campaign. So when you will access the team tab, you would actually see the specific team members with their specific roles assigned, who are those who are assigned. And in the campaign, in the campaign numbers, there would be an option to manage assignment type. As the leads are coming in, how do you want it to be assigned to your team members, especially if you have team members sharing the same role. So there's round robin, where the system evenly distributes the lead. There is first to claim, and there's manual assignment. So if you are doing first to claim, whoever are those who are sharing the same role. For example, in this case here, if there would be like 3 acquisition managers for this campaign, those 3 acquisition managers would receive a notification that there is a lead that needs to be claimed. So whoever would access the lead and claims it, then could definitely do that within the system here in the team tab. Now calculator, so there's this basic calculator available. Whatever input that you will have here, it's going to be like a saved template. So if you will access another lead, then the input will be here. You don't need to retype it. And then, of course, there's this advanced calculator too. All right. Now, with leads, you can add tags to it, multiple tags for as many as you would be needing and as you wanted. And the tags are used also for lead filter. Now, here in the actions below it, you would see all these different icons. These are actually like counts on the touches that you have with a lead, with calling, texting, ringless voicemail, email. So this is actually where it will show. Now, going back to the main leads page, all right. So from here, there's actually different views that you can select. This is the reduced grid view. But if you will do expanded grid view, um, pretty much you would actually see a lot more of information from a lead. And when you hover on the lead tile at the bottom, it will display lead management functionality. So you could already do here on the main page. Now, when you're moving your lead from one status to another, and then as you are actually closing it, um, we we actually would see here on the left menu that there's this pages for properties. So this is where you will save your own properties inventory. This is how it looks like. It has different columns as well, so it represents different statuses. So I'll just have it in reduced grid. All right. If you have a property under rehab, you could keep track of the rehab also within the system, and there would be an option for you to create a scope of work from here. Pretty much the tabs, it's kind of the same of what you see in the leads pages. Um, because leads, I said leads pages because there would be active leads, your warm leads page, the dead leads page, and referred to agents. So pretty much the tabs are all like the same. But here in inventory, even in sold and rental, there would be additional tab like project info, scope of work, and then financials. So you can create scope of work from here. This is how it looks like, right? Financials, this is actually going to be an auto-populated information for any of the transactions you have in banking that you are going to be mapping for a specific property. Now, after the properties pages, here in left menu, we have the activity menu where you will be able to see call logs. So call logs, this is a very convenient way for users to see the activities so far with leads, outbound calls, inbound calls, for the texting, for MS, for voicemail recording. There's available filter in here that you can actually click on if you want to see specific, like, specific time periods, specific user, specific communication type, and of course for the campaign. Now, under activity as well, there's this page for scheduled SMS. This is if you want to schedule your one-off text for a future date and time. So all that scheduled SMS will appear here, and there would always be an option for you to cancel if there's a need to. Task page will show all the tasks you have pending and completed. So if you are monitoring your team's task, you want to see all of the task like for a user, then this is like the best page for you to access and look into it. There are also, like I've said, filters here in tasks that would help you pull up very specific information out of the task page. Task name, property address, the task type, the task priorities, it's all in here. You can even filter for those tasks that are already past due or those that are due later or due today. Now, part of the activity menu is the global tasks. Like I've mentioned earlier, it's more of the status automation. So this is more of a task that you wanted to auto create on a specific status when a lead is actually added or switch over to a specific status. Um, and then we have this contacts menu that has the buyer's database. You can upload your own list, your cash buyers list, your agents list in here. And there would always be an option for you to communicate with your buyers using the system. And also there is this bulk SMS and bulk email features for the buyers module. So if you want to advertise any of your property to, through bulk SMS and bulk email, you could absolutely do that here in the buyer's database. Now, the phone numbers, there is a section for buyers' phone numbers. So you will have different set of phone numbers for leads and different for the buyers. Now, contractor page, this is where you will store information for contractors that's working with you or will work with you, or you've kept records. You know, this is where you will actually store it, and make sure, of course, that all contractors you're going to be working with are all in here. So just in case you create scope of work in the system for any rehab, for example, in the contractor portion, you would be able to select who's the contractor you're working with that particular project. General menu, this is where you will see drip campaign. So like for the drip campaign, this is the auto sequential follow-up. The system has preset drips already uploaded. You can use it anytime. Very straightforward, very effective too. But setting up the drip campaign, I think the part where it is difficult or challenging is like setting it up, like once you're creating it. But then as you go along, and you will have all the drips that you will have for the different types of leads that you have in your account. um, it's really easy because you will just have to access the lead and activate the drip campaign for that lead. You'll just select whatever drip campaign you're going to be activating for that lead. Now, the drip campaign, you can decide when you would want it to happen and what type of follow-up you want to happen. And you can go on and on with the steps for as long as you would want the drips to take place. Now, for the drip campaign, it has a functionality for drip automation, which is managed through different campaign phone numbers or on a campaign level. Web forms, REsimpli has this web form link for leads and another for buyers. This is very useful for those um, who are subscribed with an answering service. So if you wanted them to push information for leads into your REsimpli account, you just have to provide your web form a link for leads, and you don't need to do things manually, like exporting whatever file they have from there, import it to REsimpli. Just with the use of the web form link, the information of a lead could be transmitted over to REsimpli once the web form is being submitted. Well, like I mentioned, it is a web form link for leads, and then there's another web form link which is for the buyers. For the buyers. E-sign, I think I pretty much mentioned about this earlier, that it works like DocuSign. The e-sign page, this is where you will upload your template. So once that you've uploaded your template, this is also where you can decide on adding all the information you need, adding all the, it's like more of an instruction of where the other party should sign, put in information. And yeah, so adding parties is just located here at the far right. All right. Okay. Now, general files, this works like the files portion in a lead, wherein you could upload your documents, photos, videos, but this is more of like for general business, like it's not lead specific. So you will have your own storage within the CRM. Now, REsimpli has its own bookkeeping system. So here in the financials pages, on the banking page, there is an option to add or link the bank accounts that you're using for your business. Could be credit card, local credit union, it could be savings account, checking account, what have you. Or if you're not so comfortable with that, there is always this option for a manual account. Okay. Now, when you wanted your transactions, whether it's an income or an expense, tracked accordingly in the system, what you needed to do is map it, here on the banking page. So, for example, this one, let me see if I have some transactions in here. Okay, for example, this transaction. So this transaction for $500, for example, I've spent this for my direct mail. I would want my marketing spent, or spendings tracked in the system. Then I will have to go to this page to map it accordingly. There's an option in here to attach, invoices or any attachments needed for the transaction. And then there is also an option in here to split the transaction if it's being charged like in bulk. Other pages in the financials menu, it includes very specific pages, basing on the vendors properties. There's also basing on account tags, and then the system also offers this reports, available to be printed and to be exported. Now, the other functionalities in the system, direct mail service is actually an available option. So anytime we can place the order for direct mail here in the system, within the system. And these are the choices of the direct mail that um, we can choose from if ever we decide to order. List stacking is also an available functionality in REsimpli. So um, if you're purchasing list from PropStream or list source, you want to manage and stack that list, you can already do that within REsimpli. So you can import the list in your end. Once imported, um, if the list is being updated weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, you can just re-import, the updated list, and then system will update already the existing record that you will have, or you have in list stacking. Now, the advantage also of using list stacking within REsimpli is that in the leads page, there is this default information for list stacking info. So you would know exactly if a lead is part of the list that you have already in list stacking, that you could have done marketing already. So this is going to be um, updated by the system. All right, now the KPI dashboard. This is how it looks like. This is where as users, we can set the goal target, for deals, for revenue, for net income. This is also where we can see, you know, how much is it costing us per lead, per deal, the money spent so far, revenue generated, and marketing ROI. There's available filters if we wanted like very specific information or data out of KPI dashboard. Right. Okay. Now the second tab is the marketing tab. The marketing tab, this gets updated whenever there would be map transactions in the banking page. So this is going to show specific campaigns under different marketing types that we have ongoing. So like in my case, I have this campaigns under cold calling for high equity foreign absentee. So this is where I will see any expense or income that I'm actually mapping accordingly in the banking page. And this general data, conversion KPI, marketing financials, these are all data provided by the system. Leads data, it will provide us users, the information on how many days like a lead is moving from the time it's added into the account to the time it switch over to a different status, right? And of course, if there would be any rehab that's tracked in the system under the inventory page, then the rehab data gets updated. So the information in the KPIs, it's updated real time as the team is using the system, or as the user is using the system, and making sure that everything um, is actually being logged in the system. Everything is recorded in the system. Now, with REsimpli, it has an intensified user management functionality. So it means that you can control permissions, accesses that you're giving to your team members. And you can definitely have team members assigned to specific role or roles, campaigns, and markets. So if there would be someone in the team who doesn't need to see the KPI page or the banking page, then that could all be managed here in the manage user page, right? Um, with integrations, so Currently, the integrations that can be processed will be, of course, with lead gen applications, and integration is done through Zapier. Now, here on the upper right drop down button, um, there is this manage templates page. This is where users can save, SMS templates, email templates, recordings for the ringless voicemail, and even task templates. Okay. So this is also where custom questions can be created, for the lead form or for the buyer's form, and all the other functionalities necessary as per account. Okay, so there's a lot of things to learn. There's a lot of things that we have to get familiar with as we're using the system. But bottom line of it all is that it makes things easier for us, especially with um, our day in, day out, with all the leads that we wanted to be in touch. We wanted to make sure we have follow up set up with, productivity of team members, and all that. Now, that's all that I have to share for now. Thank you so much, and have a great day ahead.